Good afternoon, cherished viewers and audience out there in Ghana, Africa, and the world at large. Today is another marvelous Thursday, and it's our utmost pleasure to welcome you once again to the Leadership 360 program, live on Metro TV in Ghana and broadcast all over Africa on DSTV channel 277. Today promises to be a great show. As announced last week, we have a great personality, the legendary Captain Kofi Amoabeng, on the show. This Leadership 360 program is our own effort at contributing to the continuous development of the leadership efforts or the leadership mindset for a better society. Today, we're going to have another conversation that will take us closer to the destination we all want to be. Before we do that, let's take a quick break and we shall continue the conversation.
What is you taking number first? By you. You actually say take the number give me.
Guys, no, I'm tired. I'll go on a date with whoever gets here first.
Princess, really? Okay, I come.
Shut up!
Mame, for the time to Boss, fill my tank with Super XP Raw 95.
Fill up with Super XP Raw 95 and Diesel XP high performance products from Goyle.
Sorry, Tony got here first, so I'm stepping with him.
Oh, cut him. Hey, go for mommy.
Choose Super XP Raw 95 and Diesel XP for an energizing driving experience. Always go for Goyle Super XP Raw 95. Go.
I promise on my Hannah to be a better leader every day, faithful and loyal to my country, organization, and fellow team members, countrymen and women. I pledge myself to remain true to the core values of integrity and self-discipline through my daily choices and actions. My mind is alert, focused at all times. I shall show respect to everyone always and every time. I remain a better leader and team player always. So I pledge.
And that is my personal pledge and our collective pledge on this show to make our societies better so that at any point in time we are either part of a team or we are in leadership position, we must adhere to certain codes and commitments to make our societies better. Welcome back to the show. I mentioned that we have the legendary guest on this show, as you saw on the flyer. But before we engage him in any meaningful conversation, it's very critical that we get to understand the background our guest is coming from, especially for those who may not have known so much about him. So let's look at our guest profile briefly. Has an interesting background. He's a multifaceted professional with a military background, a civil business background, and he has been able to, accrue to himself a lot of accolades, achievements across the globe. I must say, he is a banker, an investment and leadership consultant. He's a fellow of Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, CIMA UK, and member of Chartered Accountant CA Ghana, and alumnus of the University of Ghana Business School, the first business school in Ghana. He is credited with many prestigious laurels, such as Lifetime Achievement for Innovation in Africa, Ghana National Order of the Star of the Voter, Offsets Division, 3 times Ghana's Most Respected CEO, 2008, 2010, and 2012. He is the founder and chairman of the PK Amoabeng Leadership Foundation and UT Holdings. Cherished viewers and audience, this guest is no other person than Captain Prince Kofi Amoabeng, retired. Sir, you're welcome to Leadership.
Thank you very much.
360 program.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure having you.
Yeah, I think you have a yeoman's task, tackling leadership in Ghana.
We shall, with you in our, with us, supporting us, I guess we'll be able to surmount all the challenges. If as difficult as it is.
I'll contribute my bit.
All right,
I
sir.
hope it helps on your course.
Right. Thank you very much, sir. Sir, to set the ball rolling, it's been said, or it is a known fact across the globe, that leadership remains the key denominator of every human endeavor. It is the pivot around which every effort at sustainable development revolves. And so when it comes to leadership, one cannot discard it or push it to the background. And that is the reason why we deem it fit to bring you, because you have traveled the road. You have gone through the uphills, the valleys, you have gone through all. And so hearing from you and knowing what leadership entails really will help us a great deal. So to set the ball rolling for today's program, from your personal experiences and discoveries from military to corporate world and your personal life, what does leadership entail?
Thank you very much. When you're talking about leadership being the common denominator, it reminded me of a quotation from Dr. Pipim's book. It says, a lion leading a flock of sheep will definitely defeat a sheep leading a pack of lions. Just so that it means everything depends on the leadership.
Exactly.
Now, leadership requires someone who is on a mission, ultimately also has a vision, but what is important is the mission, what they try to do. And getting people around him or her and creating the right culture and aligning them to that vision and mission. And most important is the fact that you have to generate trust with your people, and they all know that yes, you can take them there, and yes, the mission is one that is of importance and will change the world.
So, in effect, leadership is not just about a position. It's not just about a title. It's about provision of a direction.
Exactly.
And ensuring that the team members understand that direction.
Exactly. And they're well motivated that they can do it by themselves. Even if you're not there,
all right,
they'll do what is right.
All right. So in our part of the world, more often than not, a lot of people believe leadership is about the position, it's about the title. So we are grateful for that clarification.
Thank you.
On this show. So we have established as well that leadership is not a title, and it's a way of getting people to a certain direction. Thank you very much, sir. Great submissions. And we've also realized that you mentioned it right, trust underpins the leader's activities. How can one build that trust?
Well, it's not easy in Ghana or in Africa because we have an environment cultures and behaviors and attitudes which tend to be quite negative and do not apply to the business community or to develop businesses. What I mean is, we come to business with our training and our upbringing and our experiences. That is the people that you get in the business. Now, these people have negative behaviors when it comes to running a business. Let me take just one example.
Yes.
We all complain about time, right? And the issue about time is it's so critical for anything at all to happen. But because of the environment we've experienced over time, many years, if not thousands of years, the typical African has no respect for time. In actual fact, when it comes to time, the problem we had was how to waste time and go to bed, because we didn't have any challenges, we didn't have any things to plan for or to plan against, and we didn't have, and we also had abundance. Food to eat, and weather is perfect, climate doesn't change much, even temperature changes not much. We had the abundance, and therefore we created cultures around this kind of environment. You can't bring that into business. So to ensure that the business or the leadership thrives, you, the leader, should create a different culture in the business. You have to create a culture of respect for everybody in the business. You have to create a culture of caring for everybody. And that brings the trust when they know that, yes, the company is there for me, the leader is there, and above all, and to create a culture is, you need a lot of discipline, because you, the leader, must be disciplined enough, because they're all going to watch you.
Exactly.
Disciplined enough to abide by the rules and policies and the systems of the company.
Exactly.
And that also has its problem. The problems are plenty. Because the leader, if he's coming from our environment, is going to come like, the company is mine, so it's like I'm the chief. In our system, the chief is above the law. But in business, you, the leader, should actually lead the way and be and so subordinate yourself to the rules and policies of the company.
So, culture, in as much as we are all coming from a certain background, molded by our environment, being in a leadership position, you can actually, or you have to create a culture that is progressive,
absolutely,
that is positive. And from what you said, the leader must lead by example.
Absolutely.
You must subject yourself to all the rules and regulations governing the culture within the workplace. So you also touch on, in the face of abundance, we tend to play loose when it comes to time. Can you please elaborate a bit on that?
That could take a lot more time. But listen, I'm generalizing here, but you find that the typical African in sub-Saharan Africa, we have lived in abundance for thousands of years, right? And in this world, the environment shapes everybody, and then every living thing adapts to the environment. So what I'm saying is that we've adapted to a cozy environment where you're not challenged. There's no differences in even temperature, not much. Food has always been in abundance. You don't have to even farm. As we speak, there are people who just go and they go foraging. They will just walk into the bush and they will eat what you will not get to eat. And then, so because of all these things, to cut it short, we develop negative behaviors and created traditional values, which is all around the abundance. So, for example, we do not respect the next person. Why? Because I don't need you. I'm self-sufficient. That's what we've been all along. And you don't need me. And then there's also the jealousy aspect which comes along, because if I've eaten and you've eaten, why do you want us to feel you are better? And the enviness will bring you down because you are trying to be different. You know, talking about that, the interesting thing is that you know if you're even bright in school, you are hated. So we have all these negative tendencies or vices. And that is why it's very important that when you form a company or you become a leader, you need to change those. And you change by awarding those who are behaving and sanctioning those who are not complying to the new directive, and be disciplined enough to afford, because there are a lot of forces that will actually take you away from that. For example, you employ someone, and when the person has committed an offense and the policy says it should be sacked or it should be disciplined, and the person then goes to your pastor or goes to your uncle or goes to your chief or sees a politician to come and intervene for them. Very few people are disciplined enough to say that no matter what, the person should go. We even have Jantuahene, which means anything you can just go apologize. So our system is really, really not conducive for doing business. So you must create a new culture and say, these are the laws, these are the principles, I'm leading it, I'm going to follow it. Anyone who goes away from it, we're going to apply the sanctions as per the policy of the company. And most business people and leaders are not disciplined enough
to do that. Anyway, that's interesting, because just last week we had a conversation around culture, leadership and culture, and one of your former staff, in the person of Mr. Mark Kweku Obenyapo, was here, and he eloquently delivered issues or submissions on culture, how culture has shaped our mindset and all that. So I think, and he also indicated how you have impacted on your team at the time, and he acknowledges the fact that time management was one of your key issues. That
typically we're never late for any meeting.
Yeah. So that's amazing. But let's quickly, since we are already within the organizational space, talking about leadership and setting the rules and following the rules and all that. From your discoveries, what are some of you mentioned though about people go bring chiefs, pastors and all that. What are some of the things you advise leaders, organizational leaders, to eschew, to depart from when they find themselves in such a situation?
It's quite complex. Let me say this. When you start a new company, you are below the radar, nobody sees you struggling, looking for funding and all those things. So it's easier to keep to your principles. Now, what you have to watch at that stage when you're new is you don't employ family and friends or people recommended by family and friends unless you are principled enough to be able to sack them if they should misbehave. So if you know you are weak, then don't go there. Then you also have to watch how you actually engage with people who are recommended by your pastor or who are church members, because again, if you are not hard and disciplined to a fault, you cannot deal with them. Then you have chieftaincy and traditional influences and things like that. So these are the challenges which in Ghana specifically, it makes it difficult, and leadership becomes very difficult. We have to deal with all these factors. I call them the necessary evil that you have to deal with. Broadly, I'll put them in 4 categories: family, friends, relatives. 1. Pastors or religious connections. That is 2. 3 is the chieftaincy and your traditional things. And 4 is the big one, the politicians. All these groups can help, and they actually do help companies to grow. But you must really know how you relate to them. If you're too involved with, say, church, the pastor becomes head of procurement, the pastor becomes head of HR, because he says, buy from a church member and employ a church member and things. So you must actually decide how much to deal with them. Because if you're even in politics, when you say you want to be neutral, you must be careful how neutral you are. Because when you are neutral, this one will say you belong to the other side, and the other one will say you belong to the other side. That has been typically my situation. And what happens is, of course, they can facilitate the speedy growth of your company, but a lot of things can happen. If the politics changes, you can lose the whole company. And again, they will also need funding and things for you. What people do is maybe you fund here a little bit and fund here a little bit, all sort of things. You must be really specialists at juggling to make sure that you can somersault to this. It's quite complicated. See, I would want to say this. Leadership per se is not difficult, but it's very difficult in Africa. Because I tell people that, listen, look at Mark Zuckerberg, for example. He found a good product or service, and the systems help him to be a great CEO, a billionaire. Here you find the product or service, and it's so difficult to stay on track because of all these distractions.
So one of the key lessons I am picking, and I believe our cherished viewers and audience are picking also, is that we need to pay attention to our culture, because it plays a very critical role in shaping our success story.
Absolutely.
By leadership or any development efforts that we're making. The other thing I picked also is the fact that when you are in a leadership position, you must be careful how you get involved in all these different issues, from community activities, church, religious, politics, and all that. Now, viewers, we are discussing dynamics of leadership. That is generally what we are discussing. Dynamics of leadership, if you like, you can call it the paradox of leadership, where whether you like it or not, in the face of all the challenges, you must still lead anyway. Mm-hmm. So that is the topic we are discussing this afternoon. Captain, it's been said that a leader is as good as the followers. Do you subscribe to that statement?
I don't think so. It depends how you're looking at it. The leader must actually infect the followers.
Right.
But the result is that if the leader is good, the followers will be seen as good. I remember at some point in time, some of my senior staff went somewhere, they said, why do you all behave like Kofi Amoabeng? So then they are as good as me, but you must actually lead and create the environment and the culture and everything for them to be like you.
So that statement must be
clarified.
Must be clarified.
Yeah, the followers are not as good. The followers are as good as their leader if they be infected well.
Well.
Yeah.
Okay. So where the team members or the followers, their worst behaviors are tolerated by the leader, meaning no respect for the rules and indiscipline creeping, definitely the leader will be consumed by the behavior of the followers.
Absolutely. And the company or institution will collapse.
Will collapse.
Somehow.
All right. Now, let's move a bit onto something else that has to do with mindset, even though you mentioned it. How can the leader, what kind of mindset should leaders instill or demonstrate and be able to instill in their followers? And if you look at it from the general society perspective.
Good question. You see, we are in a very bad place, for lack of a better word. The typical African or Ghanaian, even the upbringing is wrong. You know, we have a situation in most homes, the family is not that united. Your father is even just a fatherly figure. Some people even fear their father, and you are brought up to fear authority. You talk to your big sister and they will give you a slap. Why talk to your big sister like that? Why question? Your father comes to the house and you have to run away to go and hide. Or if you do something like when your father comes, you will see what will happen to you. So we grow up, in short, being docile and being afraid of all kinds of authority. And that is not a good recipe for running a good organization. Then, of course, our experiences and things are also all cued in that direction. So what I'm saying is that the mindset that the staff will bring into the institution is already a mindset that is not right. Actually, the vision of my foundation is revolutionizing the mindset of the African leader. You need to change the mindset completely and tell people that, listen, we want to hear your voice. You are respected like everybody else, and we need your contribution because you are in this company as a consultant, not just as an ordinary worker. Even the cleaner is an expert in cleaning, and that is why the cleaner is engaged. So it's a consultant in cleaning. You didn't come there as somebody downtrodden and you just ride short over them. But as soon as people come, I even had a head of department at the bank from another bank, and when he sees me, he wants to prostrate on the floor. I said, listen, you'll be a laughing stock. That is not how we run things here. You must change the whole mindset of people. And people must stand up to authority. And interestingly enough, the people who stood up to me were the people that I loved, because I knew that they will be there to challenge me and they will be there to do the right thing. Because if nobody challenges you, people don't even make contribution. A lot of people go for strategy sessions, and it's like you're going to tell them what to do. But they should actually engage and know that the company is for all of them. Let me just make this statement. I think one thing which is not clear for a lot of leaders is this. When you set up a company, you have set it up, so it's supposed to be for you. It is not for you. They are automatic partners. God is a partner, because He created you and made you what you are. The government, for providing all the facilities and security of the state and infrastructure for you to thrive and go to school, is a partner. That's why you pay taxes. Your partners or shareholders are your partners. Your staff are your partners, and so on and so forth. So you don't come and just dip your hand in the company's money because it's for me, but that's what a lot of leaders do. Because if you take monies not accounted for, you've stolen God's money, you've stolen government's money, you've stolen the staff money, you've stolen your partner's money. So you must be disciplined, and legally, a company is a legal entity on its own. So you don't steal from that legal entity. Most leaders don't see it that way.
So just to, not to cut you, just to take you back to within your organization, I must admit that the aim for, or the mission you are on with your leadership foundation aligns very much with what we are trying to do. I foresee a lot of collaboration in the future. But in your organization or your companies or your holdings, how do you instill this kind of mindset, or how have you been able to instill?
First, you lead the way.
Okay.
If your staff see you doing wrong things, they will do the same wrong things, and you won't even have the moral might to really correct them, except of course you are a dictator of some sort. But they're all watching you. It starts, the mindset and culture starts with the leader. You show the way. If there's a policy, you follow it first. You are the first employee of the company, and they're all looking up to you. And we had all sort of policies in UT. Of course, honesty was number one, and we had to respect everybody. So if, let's say, a middle staff member, middle management or something, looks down on the junior staff, you are completely out. You'll be sacked summarily. And they also watch how you treat the junior staff. And when they see that you respect them, and you do, they will do the same thing, because, of course, they can also be sanctioned if they don't do it. So it's the leadership and the leadership and the leadership. It's not that you are different from the others. You are supposed to, and the best teacher is through action. Your actions will say a lot, and also show that you care for them, because they must trust that the company is there for them. I say this, and some people sort of doubt it. I say, when you look at it seriously, when you have a company or such an institution, your first family is the company. Because you spend the best of your life in the company. You wake up every weekday at 5, 6 o'clock and rush to this place and stay there till evening before you come to your nucleus family. So the company should be a family unit. That's what you have to create, where they are spending their time and they love the time they spend in the company. If you don't create that, then of course, they are thinking of other family, and so forth. They are stealing from here to look after their family. But this company that you're creating is going to look after them through their pension and even when they die. And people should see it like that. And you have to let them see it like that.
Captain, the conversation is getting interesting as we move along. I believe you have a lot that we will tap from you today. Cherished viewers, discipline, example, right mindset are the few things that Captain has told us already. Let's take a quick break, and when we are back, we'll continue the conversation.
What is that taking on my first? By you. You have to say take the number give me.
Guys, no, I'm tired. I'll go on a date with whoever gets here first.
Princess, really? Okay. I dey come. Shut up! Mame, feel me talking about Boss, fill my tank with Super XP Raw 95.
Fuel up with Super XP Raw 95 and Diesel XP high performance products from Goyle.
Sorry, Tony got here first, so I'm stepping with him.
Oh, cut him. Hey, Kofi buajungwa mami.
Choose Super XP Raw 95 and Diesel XP for an energizing driving experience. Always go for Goyle Super XP Raw 95. Go.
Welcome back. This is the Leadership 360 program on Metro TV Live. We are live on Facebook as well and live on VOL online radio. For you to be part of this conversation, just pick your pen, relax. We're going to announce the call lines soon, and you will contribute to this discussion. Now, Captain has told us a lot about leadership discipline, self-discipline, and team discipline, the right mindset, the right attitude, and even touched much on establishing core values within the workplace that the leader himself must demonstrate every day or live by every day. Now, Captain, the next question I'm going to ask has to do with the fact that at the workplace today, we have different generations. We have the baby boomer generation, we have the millennials, we have the Gen Z and Gen X and so on and so forth. All these generations are within the workplace. Now, you find either a baby boomer in his maybe 50s to 60s, and he's the leader within the organization, or he's the CEO of the organization. And you have Gen Z, very young people who have very peculiar attitude and mindset. What should leaders, whether they are from a younger generation or the older generation, what are some of the things that you would advise they should consider?
Well, of course, every generation and their peculiar attitudes. What I find interesting about the younger generation is they don't have patience. They want to make money like yesterday. At the age of maybe 26, you're thinking of how you can drive a Mercedes-Benz. Therefore, any ways and means that he will adopt to make sure that he realizes money early. But it doesn't even matter whether they have a different work ethics or different values or whatever they are bringing to the company. When they get into a company, they will learn from those who are there. I think the older people, their supervisors and their colleagues and all that, they will learn. And the important thing is to instill the cultures in them. If the culture is that strong, whether you are a millennial or whatever, you will have to adapt or you will go out. It's a matter of setting the rules and applying the rules to a fault. And I have a lot of examples. When I sit back, I ask myself why I did it. But I did it because I did it for the company and for those who wanted to do the right thing.
Can we get one of such examples?
Plenty. Which one? There's one that I think people think I was too hard. I wrote about it in the book. This guy, I will not mention his name again because he had a daughter who had a hole in her heart. And I realized that he looked depressed. So I called him and I said, "You don't look cheerful like always." So he said the daughter had a hole in her heart and so on and so forth. And I said, "Bring the daughter and let me see her." And he brought the daughter and the wife to my office. And I gave my finger to the daughter. The daughter was probably almost a year, but she looked like maybe 2-3 months because of the hole in her heart. So I looked at this guy and I said, "Listen, don't worry. Because of where you are and the way we work hard, I'm going to do something different. The company will pay for the surgery. So just pick yourself up. Let's work towards it." And the child had to be put on special drugs to build her immunity before they could do the surgery. They couldn't do it immediately. Just as waiting for the child to build up, this guy then commits an offense which the sanction was dismissal.
Wow.
So my staff was saying,
as a true test,
we'll see what PK will do. So I called the guy, and when he came, I said, "Did you really do this?" And she burst out crying. And I said, "It's damn unfortunate. Because of your action, your daughter may be going to die. If your daughter dies, you have killed her." And the conversation ended somehow. And he left. And I made him go. People ask me why I didn't look after the daughter. I said I was going to do it because of his contribution to the company, not because of just my liking for the daughter. That was a hard one. But that's why I said you apply it.
The latter.
Yeah, and you are disciplined about this is the policy, these are the sanctions, and you just do it.
Thank you very much. But in your leadership, I believe you have the up and the high and the lows.
Absolutely, plenty.
How so the highs we know, but the lows. How did you deal with those lows?
Well, just apply the sanctions as they are. I mean, there's some. At one point, I sacked someone, and the HR came and said, "There's no policy in place, so Chief, I think you are not right." And even though I knew that I had done the right thing, I had to actually pull back. I said, "Okay, re-engage her, but then put in the policy." And we put the policy. After that, we apply the policy.
All right.
So you have to run a company which is transparent, which shows love and care, which generates trust, and which aligns everyone to the vision.
Indeed, leadership is not a child's play.
No.
It's such a task that must be...
You see, it's a task and very difficult because the systems here are not supportive of the business. That's why I mentioned the case of Mark Zuckerberg. He finds a good product, and the systems support him, and he grows the business. It's not difficult because the system, everybody understands the system. In the other countries, by the age of 18, before age of 18, you know that at 18 you have to leave the house. So it's not your father saying that you are 18 and go. No, you yourself work yourself. Yeah. But here, to contrast that with this place, you have somebody who's about 50 and he wants to live in a grandfather's house because he's claiming his portion. I mean, what kind of life is this? So we have, I say it again, the environment has created the wrong mindset for us. Therefore, it makes leading people in organizations very difficult. Because they bring that mindset into the institution. So you must unwind it and revolutionize the mindset. And you can only do that by you, the leader, put the right systems in place and living by them.
Thank you very much. Cherished viewers, most of the examples and the submissions Captain is making, they are all contained in this book, Building a Winning Team. That's the UT story, Volume 2.
Yeah.
Volume 1 has to do with the beginning, the humble beginning. As you can see on the screen, this is the Volume 1, the UT story, humble beginning. And Volume 2 is Building a Winning Team. And I believe that going through these books will give you a very in-depth insight into some of the issues that we are discussing. It's amazing how life, changing stories of his personal discoveries over the years. You can contribute to this program by reaching to us through the number 0531 982298. 0531 982298. I must also indicate that Captain currently has a foundation, as he mentioned, the PK Leadership Foundation. Let me quickly ask, so that it comes from you, what you mentioned in brief, how the aim of the leadership. But can you tell us a little bit more about the foundation?
You see, basically, I think we all come into this world to impact life and leave the right legacies, to make the world around us a little bit better than maybe what we find. So I always I've been baffled with what God made with my life. To start how I succeeded through school and everything, and to start all kinds of businesses, and then finally start UT. And
all right, Captain. Sorry, we have a first caller. Let me just cut you in here. I'll come back for us to continue. Evans from Tertiary, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
And
thank you very much this afternoon.
Thank you too. Please go ahead with your point.
Thank you. Yeah, in fact, it is a very educative program, and I'm happy I've learned so much from Captain and all that he said. Anyway, this is an issue which I want to discuss here. Now, I work in a company where...
If you can be snappy for us as well.
So I work in a company where one of the functions, which is tantamount to sack, is sleeping on duty. So a manager caught a worker sleeping on duty, and the sanction was applied, sack. Not that long, the same manager was also seen sleeping on duty. So this manager sacking an employee, and he also committing the same offense. How do we go by it? As a manager, you know the rules of the game, but you yourself are flattered, and you have applied the same rule in kicking someone out. Thank you.
Thank you too.
So the manager's boss should sack him.
I guess, Evans, you heard the response from Captain. Obviously, the manager's boss, the manager's manager should just sack him as well, because the rules must be applied. It's as simple as ABCD, according to our guests on the show. Please continue with the aims of the foundation.
So after all the experience that I've had in building companies and also the UT story, see, the UT story, take me out. It's a rare story where we started, 4 of us in one room in Cantonment without a toilet, and almost nothing, no funds and things like that. And we're able to grow it into what it became with all the awards and international and everything, to include a bank and logistics company and properties company. And I think that story needs to be documented and told to the youth that it can be done. And actually, we've done it in Ghana, and this is how we did it. So it's the books, it's what the foundation is championing, to let people know how it can be done. You don't have to just go into politics and then maybe insult people and then get a V8 and then you say you're successful. No. We need a lot more companies knowing how to go about it and learning the rules and being educated about how to go about it, because we need people to be employed. The government has come out clearly that they can't employ more because IMF won't allow them to employ. So how do we get young people employed? That for the foundation is to create the leaders who can create successful companies to employ people and take people off the streets and give them hope and give them aspiration.
Yeah, I'm going to follow up with the question, but before I come to that, let's take another caller. Mohammed from Accra, good afternoon and welcome to Leadership 360 program.
Yeah, good afternoon. My regards to Captain.
Please speak up a bit and be snappy for us.
All right, good afternoon. I'm extending my greetings to Captain. He has been so much inspiration to most of us. Please, the question is that I wanted to find Captain.
Can you speak up? Can you speak up a bit?
Hello, please can you hear me now?
Yes.
Is it clear? All right, so I'm saying good afternoon, and then my regards to Captain. I wanted to. My point is that aside where can we get the book online to buy them?
All right, so access to the book.
Yes, please.
All right, Captain.
It said online, so
online.
booknook.store. Book NOOK.store. Otherwise, you can find them in bookshops, EPP, Kingdom, Airport Shell, Bachuna Total, Usu Total, and other bookshops.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mohammed. Captain, so with the leadership, you offer mentorship, coaching, training to the younger generation?
Yeah, what we're trying to do is we go to tertiary institutions, not just those doing business, but to talk to them about the problems and how to actually come out and create your own businesses and so on and so forth. We also have intentional mentorship, where we're going to choose, or we have actually shortlisted some people who are going to go through special mentorship, and through the mentorship, we have to shadow their progress and so on and so forth.
All right.
And align them with other mentors, and not just that. Interestingly, before I forget, we're getting them to do 1 week military training, because I think they need the kind of leadership in them.
All right, that will be interesting. I'll come back to that. Abu, good afternoon from Tamale.
Abubakar Sadiq.
Abubakar Sadiq, good afternoon. How is Tamale?
Tamale is okay.
All right, please go ahead.
My main challenge is, as he was saying, the person was also sacked. Are you getting me? After mobilizing for another sleeping one to be sacked. And I've realized that currently in Ghana, one is spending, where a private company, they sack some 3 people. And then the unions, the labor unions, they also mobilize, V.U.C.A and Co, they also mobilize themselves, came in. And currently, you realize that if you are a leader, these other issues like trade unions, and then the same time labor commission, and so on. Then here the third one is the political wing. Maybe the person is brought by a political big weight. So here,
your
how
question.
can you function as with these leadership qualities? How are you going to maneuver to go out of side 3 forces?
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We've talked about the other influences, but what he did mention was the TUC and labor unions and things like that. If it's a documented policy of the company, let's say you should not steal or you should not divert company's money, and you do, there's no TUC that can tell you they can't exactly. But they should see that as a policy. Exactly. So you shouldn't have the fear. The point is that put policies in place and adhere to them to a fault, and you won't have those issues.
All right. So, Captain, you mentioned the mentorship program where the foundation is planning to give those shortlisted people some military training. That is to say that in Ghana, discipline is an issue. So you want a certain discipline to be instilled in the mindsets of the people. But we'll come to that. Is it Ashikwe from Kokumemle, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. A solid program. I remember I have had to mention Captain in a class as one of best leaders that I have seen in my generation. I have monitored him right from Kingsway, right from Katamanto to Kingsway to airport. So I can speak to his person, even though I've seen him from afar. I'm sure if I mention a name like Bettina Mills, he would identify with the Mills name. So I can speak to. I, however, have a little challenge with his submission, especially regarding the little child who had a hole in heart. I'm sure he knows that people will call and talk about that. I feel that as a matter of principle, he could have saved the child who could become the president of the Republic of Ghana today, rather than asking the mother to go. There are so many ways of punishing specific people without stretching it to people who could get, or could benefit from his benevolence. I can tell you on authority that I know that the man seated there is a very nice person.
All right. All right. Thank you very much.
I mean, you can fault me for it, but I'm telling you that if you're going to make exceptions to the rules, then watch the kind of leadership you're going to give up. Because I believe you don't make exceptions to the rule. Okay. And that's exactly what happened. But of course, he can fault me about it.
All right. Thank you. So, what about why the military training? If I may just put it right.
I'm trying to create. We call these chosen people V.U.C.A Amoabeng scholars, which means I'm trying to mold them and take them through what I went through.
Okay.
What changed me or what made me the leader that I have been is my exposure to the armed forces. If you read the first book, it says, in search of discipline. I felt I was so indisciplined and therefore decided to join the armed forces. And I had a discipline that I wanted. And leadership in the armed forces is the best leadership you can get. There's no training you can get anywhere about leadership more than in the armed forces.
All right. Captain, the time is flying so much that let's take this call and then we'll come back because we're almost at the end of the program. Abraham from Abraham, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Abraham, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I like his contribution or submission. I want to know what contributed to the fall of his company. Because if you look at the kind of effective leadership that he put in place, this shouldn't have been the end of the company. So I want to know what was the cause of the fall of his organization or the bank.
All right. Thank you very much. I believe lots of that available in the book anyway, but I will allow Captain.
No, I think he's talking about what if I'm saying that is the way to lead. How come UT Bank went down? I think we don't have the time to actually talk about all that. Yeah. Actually, he should wait a bit. There's a third book which is coming out on my next birthday in February. That actually will go through or will capture the beginning of the bank, why we went to the bank, what happened in the banking sector and our involvement in it, what were the good things we did, what were the bad things we did, what culminated in the bank having all the NPLs and the problems, and then the government closing the bank.
All right.
With your time limited, I won't even try.
Definitely.
But certainly in the third book, all these things will come out. So to get a full meaning of the UT story, you better start reading volume 1 and volume 2 and wait for volume 3.
Exactly. So viewers, just look out for this space. We will announce to you when the volume 3 comes out. It's been amazing. Indeed, Captain has told us leadership is about showing the way, directing or shaping a culture that will endure in the long run to the benefit of the team or the organization. Before a leader can do that, the leader must live by certain core values that the team members are also expected to live by. That is why on this show we describe it as the honor code that leaders should live by. Let's take a look at our honor code.
I am a proud and firm African. I will take a stand. I will lead and be the change. Come and take my hand. For the safety, honor, and welfare of my country and company come first. Always and every time. The honor, welfare, and comfort of the people I lead come next. My own ease, comfort, and safety come last. Always and every time.
Welcome back, viewers and cherished audience. In fact, just before we came back, Captain said this honor code need to be embraced by Ghanaians, because when it comes to Ghanaian society, this honor code seems to be far from us. But all the same, Captain, in a minute, what will be your takeaway? What will you give our viewers?
Well, I think, in a nutshell, if you want to be a leader, you should know that leadership comes from loving people and wanting to change the status quo. So, a leader, or let's say an entrepreneur, the first thing that moves them is not the money that they're going to make. They want to make a change in the system and improve lives for people and of course themselves. So it's about the passion that you pursue, that agenda of making a change for the betterment of the world. The byproduct is money. Mm-hmm. So if you are about money, then you realize that the small money that comes, then you want to take it because that's what you've been craving for. But if you're passionate about changing the world, then of course you will meet hardships, no two ways about it. But because of the vision and the mission that you have, you stay focused on what you're supposed to do and put systems and policies around it and behave consistently and let people know what you stand for and respect everybody and care for the people that are going with you in the pursuit of the mission and the vision, and you'll be great and you'll be an achiever.
Thank you very much. Leaders must focus on the vision and the mission and live by values and take people along those values and make money the byproduct of the enterprise they are engaged in. That's the takeaway for today's show. It's been amazing having you. We are so grateful, Captain, for sparing your time. You don't joke with time. For you to come here, we appreciate it so much. We are so grateful.
Well, the pleasure was mine. I mean, it gives an avenue for also sharing our views on leadership.
Thank you.
And that's what we're about.
Thank you. And cherished viewers, without you, this program wouldn't have been possible every week. So we are grateful for your viewership and your audience every week. Next week, we shall continue our conversation on leadership 360. Every aspect of leadership is what we are looking at. The mindset, discipline, attitude, culture, perceptions, values, all that is what we do on this program. Stay tuned for the flyer and we see you next week. Bye.